Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Making 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Hidden Prodigy with 9 different elements. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, and don't forget to go ahead and check out part 2 of What If Naruto Was the King of the Curses, Sukuna, over on Anime Symbol guys, yes, and enjoy that. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And if you want to have your what if done to be placed in the polls, go ahead and comment them over on Anime Symbol guys, so they can be done directly by me. And also don't forget to turn on the bell notification and stay tuned for the polls. They will be up tomorrow guys. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's jump right into this. Begin now guys. So the last part we left off, Naruto was having a difficult time within the village, as no one really seemed to like him that much, something that he truly hated. He thought that things were getting better, but they were not, as he was chased. He was able to escape though, from the drunks as he arrived towards a secluded area. Arriving there, Naruto was so frustrated he used fire. Naruto was confused by this, at what he just did, as he didn't quite understand. As he tried to do it again, as he tapped into the anger inside of him, as he thought about the villagers and the mistreatment, he used it once again. When he calmed himself, he used water, as Naruto did not believe that ordinary other people could do this. He must be special with a bloodline. So he plotted. A few days went by as Naruto came up with the thought of leaving the village. He could not grow stronger here, as the village was against him clearly. There were some people that he cared for dearly, but he needed to become stronger in order to protect those people, so he needed to leave. As he started the plot, Aruka was one of his teachers who were actually someone that gave a damn about him. So Naruto respected the man greatly, as he was going to miss the people there, the Hokage as well, the Ichiraku family. But he had no choice. He believed that this was the right way, and he already made up his mind, so he plotted. Naruto was able to gather a lot of things, as he got equipment from the shed that was around the academy back. Other than that, he went, as he snuck in. The Hokage really need to keep the place better secured. That was one of the first things he would fix once he was leader, because Naruto was able to sneak in rather easily and got what he needed. He also took some of the jutsus out of the Forbidden Scroll, Genjutsu, and several others. So with that, he made his way. The guards were extremely tired at night, as Naruto was able to slip past without any of them even noticing. So with that, he was gone, as he ran for a long while, until he was far enough away. Once that was done, Naruto decided to work on his bloodline. The 6 years old child was working on his bloodline, as he was able to manipulate all the known natures. Yes, he had control over all of those elements. He was unaware of the others for now, but these were grateful. However, he needed to get more control over his chakra, and his chakra quantity was small. He needed to build it more, as he read about the scroll on what to do, so he went to train and getting stronger. The next morning, Naruto was still continuing as he was making his way to the east. As he was heading towards the water country, he had taken the map and he knew where to go. 5 days later, Iruka went to Naruto's house because he was not coming to the academy, as something was wrong. He went there. What he found was rather shocking. A letter, addressed to him and one to the Hokage. Bursting into the Hokage's tower, he informed the man of what happened, and that Naruto was gone. Hiruzen, of course, would send someone. However, if anyone were to find out that Naruto was missing, especially because of what he held, they would be hunting after him. So Hiruzen had to play this smart, as Naruto promised that he would come back, and he would come back a lot stronger. Hiruzen was stressing about the paperwork as well because Naruto was the one that stole and went into the scrolls. However, he had faith, and he also believed that Naruto needed this. Yes, he didn't know why, but he believed so. He would have faith and trust in the boy. Meanwhile, Naruto was able to dock a ship. He had money. However, he would have to get a job or something. Once he was on it, as the people were kind of freaked out when he was walking on walls. So the captain didn't want him to train here. So Naruto had to wait as he finally got towards the land of Wave. Arriving there, a woman was being mugged. As the guy was running past him, Naruto threw him into the building and knocked him out. As he took the purse and handed it to her, she offered him a place to stay after talking to him, as the hotels around here were expensive. So she brought him back to her place. As Naruto met her father, Tazuna, her name was Tsunami, and she had a little boy known as Inari. As Naruto settled in with them for the time being, as she was gonna cook them a good meal. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check it for yourself, and what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode begin now guys. I hope you boys are hungry. I made extra helpings of dinner tonight, said Tsunami with a smile. As Tazuna's face quickly light up. Brat, wait until you try her cooking. I swear, it's the best in Wave, said Tazuna as he started to shovel the food as fast as he could. Oh dad, you say that about everything I cook, said Tsunami with a giggle, as he wolfed the food down. But it's true, he yelled, as he returned to devouring his dinner quickly. As Naruto did not touch it though, he was just looking at it. She turned towards him. Is something wrong, Naruto? You haven't touched your food. Do you not like it? No, it's not that, said Naruto, as he made sure to say it quick to not offend her. It's just, I'm not sure what it is. It's hayashi rice. You never had it before? Tazuna asked curiously, as Naruto shook his head. Just try it, Tazuna said, as he wondered, how could he not have this stuff before? It's a common dish in almost any house. You know what, it doesn't matter. None of my business. As Naruto picked up a spoonful of a strange food and took a bite. For a minute he sat there and did nothing with the spoon in his mouth. Then, faster than Tazuna ever had, Naruto started to devour it. This is great, he said between spoonfuls as he shoved it into his mouth. You would think that he has never eaten anything before, Tsunami and Tazuna thought, as the young blonde devoured the food in front of him. Soon, between Naruto and Tazuna, their appetites had been finished off as they were full. As Tsunami took care of the dishes as Inari followed behind her, as Tazuna struck up a conversation with the blonde. So, you're from a ninja village. I see, and you left on this training journey of yours to get stronger. Naruto nodded after explaining to the man. Yeah, that's exactly why I decided to leave my village. That's a good story, Brat, said Tazuna as he looked at him with a bit of suspicion. But aren't you too young to be traveling alone like this? Well, it's not like I didn't tell them I was leaving. Besides, if I'm gonna be a ninja, I have to get stronger. Fair enough, Brat, but what about your parents? I bet they didn't like this idea of yours, Tazuna said, as he took a sip of his drink. Well, that's not gonna be a problem, said Naruto. I don't really have any. Tazuna felt a bit guilty as he saw the look on Naruto's face, as he quickly changed the subject. So, you said something about being a ninja, right? As Naruto nodded his head. As he started to tell Tazuna about being a ninja, and from all the types that he had seen, everything from how they did missions and then they get payment for it. However, said Naruto, I don't want to be just any ninja. I want to be the best ninja ever. Even more, I want to be the leader of my village. The Hokage, he said. As Tazuna gave him a smile. You got some spunk, brat. However, what kind of ninja were that? As he pointed towards Naruto's orange bright clothing. I thought ninjas were supposed to wear all dark to be secretive and whatnot. Well, it's all I got to wear, said Naruto as he looked down. Damn it, forgot that he was an orphan. Tazuna thought to himself, as he watched Naruto fuss over his clothing. Tazuna glanced towards the clock on the wall. Getting kind of late, so you better go and get some rest, he said. As Inieri was right beside Naruto as he had came back down. As Naruto made his way up the stairs, Inieri following after him. So you heard what he said, huh? Said Tazuna. As Nami nodded. I just wish there was something we could do for him. Well, I think I might have an idea. As he whispered something to her. Dad, you may be old, but you're still as clever as a fox, she said. Hey, I'm not that old, he said. Time skip. The next morning, after a quick breakfast, Naruto was packing his things. As he stepped outside to see the family waiting for him. So brat, you're leaving, huh? Yep. Got a lot of places to go, said Naruto. And I only have a couple of years to do it. Well, we couldn't just let you leave without some parting gifts. Now could we, brat? Naruto sighed as he asked. You're never gonna call me by my name, are you? And what do you mean by gifts, said Naruto. Tsunami walked up as she gave him a slip of paper and a few coins. Naruto was confused. It's payment for saving my purse. I heard what you said last night. And it's the payment that you're receiving for your mission of saving my purse. And it's not much, but I'm sure when you get back to your village, that note will give you a fair payment, she said. As Naruto opened up the note, it was like the ones ninjas got for a mission completed. As he put it into his pocket with a bright smile as he bowed his head in thanks. Inieri then walked up towards him and held his hand out as he had a small bento box. Enjoy it while it lasts, he said to him. He then made his way inside. Huh. That's the first time he spoke to me since I've got here. And it's barely a sentence, said Naruto. Look at it this way. At least he spoke to you, said Tazuna. As he tossed Naruto a brown package, as Naruto caught it clumsily. I found a couple of my old clothes in the closet last night and I thought you might need it more than I do, Tazuna said. I'm curious, said Naruto. Why are you doing all of this? Well, the life of a ninja is hard. And I know that you're just a kid right now, but I can tell that there's something special about you. And I'm just doing my part in helping you to reach where you're going, he said, as he threw an arm around Naruto's shoulder. He looked around before he reached under his shirt. This gift is just between you and me. Just don't open it until you're older, he said, as he gave Naruto a small package. As he gave Naruto directions out of the village, he came back as Nami was playing with Inieri. I think once we see him again, he's gonna be something big, Tazuna said with a smile. Yeah, I think so too, Dad, said Tsunami. A few hours later, Naruto tore the brown package, as he would not wait until he was older because he was just too curious. As Naruto read the title of the book that he found inside. Ichi Ichi Paradise, huh? Wonder what's it about, Naruto thought to himself. As Naruto started to read the first few lines, the more he read, the more red his face got. As Naruto closed the book, I'm going to get that old bastard when I visit back there again, Naruto thought. Of all the things that he expected, this was not what he expected when he read that book. Now he knew why he said not to open it until he was older. But he got too curious. As they say, curiosity killed the cat. The hidden mist earned its name very well. Naruto was annoyed. There was so much fog all over the place. Where the hell did this fog come from, Naruto thought. I finally learned some jutsu and get ready to train my bloodline, and I wake up in this? As Naruto was slicing in front of him with his blade, trying to clear a path as he was in a heavy wooden area. Not to mention the mist was so close, he could barely see, so he was slicing in front of him. As there was many shrubs in front of him and they were extremely tall. Or maybe he was short. I can't even read my scrolls anymore. If I do, they will get soaked, said Naruto to himself. And my book as well, Naruto thought. He really wanted to see what happened in that chapter after Asami was saved by those ninjas from those bandits. It was true. He said that he would never touch that book again. However, he got curious once again. So he started to read the book again. Despite it being a perverted book, he had to say it was well written. And he swore to himself that he would never become a pervert like some men would. But he had to say, he started to appreciate girls a lot more. It's been about 2 months now since he left the house. And after that he had thrown himself into training once. He was far enough away. He had only gotten 3 jutsus out of the Forbidden Scroll under his control so far. The first one was a great one, and that was a multi-shadow clone jutsu. As he got it down in just a few hours. While it was hard to make an academy clone, he could make a bunch of shadow clones and not even feel tired. It's because he had too much chakra. He overloaded the normal clone jutsu, but this clone jutsu required a lot of chakra, so he could create a buttload of them. It was awesome. That meant he had abnormal reserve for a child. The other 2 jutsu though took him about a week to learn properly, as the other one was known as the Great Exploding Clone Jutsu. If used properly, he could allow one of his clones to explode. He had some trouble controlling the explosive power though. He had nearly blown himself apart while practicing it. By the time he had learned it, he abandoned his orange clothing and started to wear the clothing that Tazuna had gave him. He was wearing a white shirt, black shorts, with plenty of pockets and some black sandals. The final jutsu that he learned was a shuriken clone jutsu. He could turn a single shuriken into 100, depending on the amount of chakra that he pumped into it. He'd also work on his elements until he found something rather strange and shocking. He could control plants. Flashback. I'm so hungry. As Naruto dragged himself down the dirt road, there was no village in sight. There was so much trees around. He was lost. He had eaten what remained of the food that he got, and for the past 3 days he hadn't eaten anything. And with the training that he has been putting himself through, he was starving. However, he had nothing that was edible around, and most of the plant life was dying, or just shrubs. As Naruto leaned himself against a tree, using his chakra to stick against the bark, so he wouldn't fall over. As he looked up, this is a nashi tree. If he was alive, I could get some fruit from it. As he reached up and broke one of the branch off with ease. But it's all dried up, he thought to himself. Why do I know that? Oh yeah, Haruka sensei told me. He told us about this tree and several others while we were on that trip. As Naruto remembered how Haruka had helped him get the fruit from a tree, and he had shared it with his favorite teacher. As Naruto smiled, unaware that his chakra that he used to stick to the tree and his emotions was affecting it. A vine started to grow in rapid pace. As the tree started extended and reached down towards him until something bumped him on the head. Ow, said Naruto. What the hell? A large orange orb had knocked him on the head. Naruto looked up to see a new branch. The rest of them were dead, but this one was flush. Is that? Naruto picked up the fruit and peeled it. What the hell? He sank his teeth into it as it was so wonderful. He couldn't believe it, but this made no sense. As Naruto glanced up toward the tree. Before that though, Naruto devoured the fruit. After which he decided to find out how How was it possible for that to happen? Because the tree was dead a moment ago, but now a fruit just dropped on his head? As Naruto walked around it for a while checking it out, I had placed my hand against it. I remember Aruka sensei showing me a tree like this. I wonder, Naruto thought to himself. End of flashback. After doing some tests, Naruto was able to find out that he could control trees, plants. It was a good thing that he found out about that at that moment, because he was starving. Now that he found out about that, he could make his own fruit if need be. Make his own food. Finally, Naruto came across the edge of the forest, and it seemed like the fog started to lift. Unfortunately though, the hill was so steep, it was too risky for him to try to climb it. The ground was soggy and too wet. But at least I'm out of that damn forest, Naruto thought to himself, as Naruto saw steam, wondering where that was coming from. Naruto was confused as hell as he arrived to see hot springs out in the middle of nowhere. Well, I guess, as he decided to check it out. The thought of taking a nice hot bath was so pleasant right now as he stepped further to see his new destination. Unfortunately though, the mud was worse slippery than he thought. As Naruto slipped, his sword fell away from him. The strap on his backpack broke, falling away and rolling down. As Naruto cursed the entire way, "God damn it, son of a..." he cursed out to the heavens as Naruto dropped right into the spring. As Naruto started to reach for anything that he could use to pull himself up, as he reached and reached, he needed to wipe his face as he pulled himself up as he found something that felt like a cloth. He didn't know what it was, but he did pull on it. As Naruto wiped his face off, the problem was the cloth that he had used. It was a green sleeve that was attached to a kimono. Naruto had seen all the cloths that Tazuna gave him and none of them was a kimono. Well, if this is not mine, then someone came out of the spring and turned their heads, looking over their shoulder at him. As Naruto knew immediately that it was a girl. She looked to be around his age. Her eyes widened upon seeing him, while he could only see her back, and fortunately for him, a towel covered her modesty. The book started to affect his mind really badly. He tried to fight it, but his eyes started to wander down. Suddenly realizing what he was doing, he slammed his hand in his own face. Why did I read that damn book, he thought to himself as he shook his head. The girl was still completely silent. Naruto swallowed. Hi, he said, trying to break the awkward silence that overtook the area. Her face became so red, it was like it was about to burst. He expected her to realize that it was a mistake, but... "Pervert!" she screamed. Naruto leaped out of the water and ran, only for something to fly past his face. It sliced his cheek. Naruto turned as he saw dozens of needles floating in mid-air above the girl. Holy shit. She's a ninja, Naruto thought. What is more dangerous than a pissed off girl? Simple. A pissed off Kunoichi. Oh Naruto, what have you gotten yourself into this time? Naruto thought to himself, in a panic, as those needles were extremely sharp. All of them were aimed at him. The girl then raised her hand, and they shot forward. Holy crap, he screamed. Naruto dropped as he slammed his fist into the ground. An earth pillar rose up immediately. The rest flew past and the others slammed right into it as he leaned his back against the earth pillar. That was close, he said, as he saw one of them had dropped nearby. He reached out and picked it up. It was coal. Wait a minute, Naruto thought, as he snapped it. This is ice. He was confused. The needles, they were made from ice. Oh, I see, Naruto thought. She's able to turn the moisture in the air, using the water, and turn them into ice somehow. That is how she attacked me so fast. So I just have to get out of here. The spring is too moist. If I go out in the forest, in the dry area, she wouldn't be able to make those needles. The girl was standing there. She knew that he was protected by that mudslide that he created. But the moment he dropped it, that is when I'll get him. No one gets away. After peeking at me, if I have anything to say about it, she said. That is when she heard, multi-shadow clone jutsu. Multiple copies of him started to leap out, surprising her. However, she reacted quickly and started to pillar them with needles, as they started to poof out of existence. But it seemed to get nowhere fast. As soon as one was destroyed, another 3 took its place. Then she noticed out of the corner of her eye, 3 blondes were running into the woods. She hurled 3 needles forward, as the one to the left jumped, as the one to the right jumped in front of the second needle, and poofed away. She instantly understood what just happened. The clone sacrificed itself to save the original, as she jumped towards her clothing. As soon as she grabbed them, she rushed after him. The last 2 Naruto was running, like the devil itself was right behind them. They were able to get away from the crazy ice-throwing girl, as they stood trying to catch their breath in the clearing. Oh man, I thought I was gonna die back there, one of them said between breaths. You know, this was entirely your fault, the other Naruto half yelled, as the first one turned towards him. What did you just say, you stupid clone? As he grabbed him by the shirt. You heard me, dumbass. As the other one grabbed his shirt. If you didn't pull shit like that, what you did back there, we wouldn't get into situations like this. It was an accident, and you should know that, Naruto yelled back, as the both of them glared at one another. Before the second one noticed something, he pushed his partner out of the way. Look out, he yelled, as he was hit by a half-dozen senbon before. He poofed away, as the original dropped down to the ground. Naruto snapped his gaze up to see the girl, as she was fully dressed, and she had senbons between her fingers. Oh crap, said Naruto, as he turned to run. She was sure that he was the original. As Naruto ran, however, he was hit with senbons in his hands and legs. As she landed, Naruto looked up towards her as she asked, in a voice that was promising pain, any last words? He smiled at her. Yeah, poof. As his body poofed away, shocking her. She couldn't believe it. He was also a clone? As it suddenly dawned on her that he got away, and she wouldn't get her revenge. As she started shouting in anger, unaware that she was being watched. I wonder, Naruto thought, if all girls are this crazy. However, he heard something behind him. He was about to turn until everything went black. Naruto started to regain consciousness sometime later, as he felt the pain in his head. Something had hit him before he blacked out. He tried to move, but he was tied up. Zabuza-sama, he heard. He's waking up. As Naruto opened his eyes to see the girl, with a few senbons in front of her, and an evil look on her face. He looked over and saw his ninja gear piled together, and there was a small fire going. However, there was someone else there. The tree blocked his view. However, Naruto saw a blade, one of the largest blades he's ever seen, as one single hand lifted it up like it was nothing. The blade was ripped free from the ground, with little to no ease. The man then stepped out of the shadows, from behind the tree as Naruto got nervous. Half of his face was covered in white bandages. He had sharp eyes, and the look of a killer. With that massive sword in his hand, Naruto was starting to feel fear. Naruto realized how much he was screwed. There were senbons in his hands, stopping his chakra. He was tied to a tree, and this guy looked like a real killer, and this girl was pissed off at him, and she was holding those senbons. All of his ninja gear is away from him. Oh shit, he was screwed, Naruto thought. Zabuza-sama, what are we gonna do with him? Whatever it is, I say, we make it slow and painful, the girl said as she practiced her through, aiming towards him. The large man ignored her as he stepped forward. He then spoke, Haku. Go and find some more firewood, he said. She turned in surprise, but the look on his face showed that he was not giving her an option. She sighed as she gave Naruto an angry look as she made her way off in the woods. Alright, brat. Drop that mask of yours. What are you talking about? That goofy mask that you're wearing. I saw your gaze back there. I want to know who the hell you are. So drop it or else. As the look on Naruto's face slipped away. As his face was now impassive, but yet his eyes were so sharp. Also, the man could see pain and sorrow in those eyes. Just like with Haku, it seems he's already found out that even for someone as young as him, the world can be truly cruel and unkind. The man thought to himself, I'm only gonna ask this once. Did you knowingly look at Haku R? Was it an accident, he said. I swear by the Hokage of the leaf. It was an accident, said Naruto. The man shoved the blade into the ground. So you're from the village hidden in a leaf. As Naruto blinked, how the hell do you know that? Well, you just said by the Hokage of the leaf. And besides, no average person carry around so many ninja tools. You must be a ninja wannabe. Going out to get stronger or something, after all. You would have had one of these. As he pointed toward his headband. As Naruto cursed himself mentally. He really need to learn how to shut his mouth sometimes. You're lucky I decided not to let Haku turn you into a pink cushion, runt. Haku was very keen on that. You know it's not the smartest thing to peep on a girl, right? Despite everything that the man just said, the only word that Naruto here was runt. He really hated when someone make jokes about his height. Who are you calling a runt? You know eyebrow freak with an overgrown butter knife. Naruto yelled as he kicked in the man's direction. How dare you call me short that I couldn't measure up to a grain of rice? When I get free, I'll show you who can't compare up to a flea. Zabuza blinked in confusion. I didn't say any of that. Seems like the kid had some traumatic, repressed emotions about being called short. As Naruto kept on yelling, shut the hell up, brat R. You'll be even shorter to the ground. As Naruto's anger rose, no second grade ninja is gonna tell me what to do, he yelled. Zabuza turned towards Naruto fully. Listen here, brat. My name is Zabuza Mamakai. I'm known as a demon of the mist. As Naruto paused and looked at him. That's right. Seems he's finally gonna understand. And finally show me the respect I deserve. Well, I've never heard of you. Zabuza almost fell over. How could you not heard of me? Zabuza of the Bloody Mist? Master of the silent killing technique? The one who single-handedly killed a class of graduates without any hesitation. One of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and an A-rank missing nin for attempting to kill the Mizukage? And you say that you never heard of me? No, not really, said Naruto. It was no Zabuza time as he cursed a lot of obscenities. As Naruto sat there watching as Zabuza looked like he had full-blown lost his mind. When he finally calmed down, Naruto asked, so you're a ninja that can use a sword? That's great. You can teach me how to use my sword, said Naruto. As Zabuza gave Naruto a blank look. And why would I do something like that? I'm not interested in teaching little tricks to kids for them to show their friends. Oh yeah? Then what about that girl that hung out with you? She seemed to be around my age. So why would you take her with you and not me? Zabuza seemed to zone out at Naruto's words as he stood and started to walk away. As he sat down in front of the fire. She's a special case, he said. She, unlike you, is of use to me. She's the last of her kind with her Keki Genkai. And I intend to use her talents to help me plan and take over Kiri, the Hidden Mist village. Then and only then, when that idiot of a Mizukage is killed, will people like her be able to live happy. And there would be no hunt of their kind, Zabuza said, as Zabuza seemed to be lost in his thoughts. I may not know what happened, but I can tell you, training me will not be a waste of your time. I do not want to waste your time or mine. I only wish to become stronger than I am right now. So please, train me to use my sword, and I'll help you to reach your goal, said Naruto. As Naruto's eyes were filled with nothing but determination that met Zabuza's head on. That is my promise to you, and I never break a promise to anyone. My Nindo won't let me, said Naruto. All my life I've been looked down upon. My village hates me for a reason I do not know. But I've had to live with that every day for the past 6 years. Zabuza's expression went from intrigue to understanding, knowing all too well how something like that could happen. I left my village to become stronger, that is true. But I want to do this so I can prove to everyone that I deserve their respect and admiration by protecting them as a shinobi, even more so as their leader, the Hokage. As Zabuza seemed to be torn between accepting and declining, so Naruto pushed it. Besides, I have my own Kekigenkai, and I think I'm the only one in history to ever have something like this. So that makes me more unique. So help me out, and I'll help you with my power, said Naruto. Zabuza was now even more intrigued by that. If his bloodline is as good as he say it is, this will help me far better. So kid, he said. What's the name of your bloodline, he said. That's a good question, said Naruto. I haven't named it yet. Zabuza's sweat dropped as Naruto closed his eyes. He opened them after a minute. I know, he said. Its name is Butai Ketsuk, element blood, Zabuza said, understanding what the words meant. Well, that is certainly an interesting name. Think of it, said Naruto. 2 unique bloodline at your use. You could complete missions much faster, meaning more money to franchise whatever you're doing. Before we go any further, think carefully about what you're signing up for, said Zabuza, cutting Naruto off. There may come a day when, while you're under my wing, you might have to kill someone for reasons that you don't understand. You think you can do something like that? As Naruto was quiet. However, his gaze was filled with determination. I knew what I was signing up for when I became a shinobi. I knew that one day I might have to take a life. I know full well what that means. But I will decide who should die. And even then only if I have no choice. As Zabuza thought what he said over. Well, if I let you train under me, don't think I'll take it easy on you because you're young. You might die the first week. As Naruto smirked, try your best, Zabuza-sensei, he said. Glad we have an understanding, Zabuza said as he took Naruto's blade. Hey, what the hell are you doing with my sword, said Naruto. You're definitely not ready to wield something like this. Your body is not in shape to handle a blade just yet. Zabuza made his way over and got his personal stuff. He dropped them on the ground. Weights. Naruto had been wearing weights. However, those were from the academy. These ones that Zabuza sensei dropped seemed like they were far more heavier. Hey, wait. How is that crazy girl gonna take it that you're training me, Naruto asked. Zabuza seemed to smile under his bandages. Time skip. Haku was returning with the firewood. It's been a while since she left. She was sure that Zabuza had killed the boy. It served him right for peeking on me. However, she heard laughter, thinking that Zabuza had done the job, but she wondered what he was laughing about. Zabuza saw my back. Where do you want me to... Haku blinked as she tilted her head. The boy who had caused her so much embarrassment, free, untied from the tree, no longer bound or restrained. He was laughing with Zabuza like he was some old friend. As Naruto turned towards her, with a smile on his face, Haku-chan, he said, can I help you with that wood? Her eyes went wide as they fell out of her hands. "Is that a no?" said Naruto. She snapped her gaze towards Zabuza. She pointed towards Naruto. "What the hell is that pervert bastard doing, untied from the tree?" "Well, I've decided to let young Naruto here train under me, in swords, as long as he can. I think he will make an excellent member of our group, don't you think?" She immediately answered, "No, I don't," she said, as Naruto pretended to have a look of shock on his face. "Why not, Haku-chan?" he said. "Is it something I said?" She was instantly in front of him as she gripped his shirt. "You know the damn reason," she said. "And who the hell told you you could call me Haku-chan?" Naruto pointed over his shoulder. "Zabuza sensei did." Haku gave him a glare as he just shrugged. "What? If we're gonna be all together, we should be close, right? Besides, I think you might actually get to like him a lot more than you think. The both of you are already fighting as a couple." Zabuza teased, causing the both of them to stare at him. The both of their faces turned red as they pointed towards one another. "You're insane," they yelled at him. As Zabuza's laughter filled the entire clearing. Seeing that the tension was still there, he decided to broke it. "Tell you what, Haku. What about you being in charge of his dodging and avoiding training while he's with us? I'll even let you take on his taijutsu training as well." Haku looked at him thoughtfully before her face turned into a calm, sweet smile as Naruto felt a shiver run down his spine. Suddenly, Zabuza's blade slammed down in front of him. "Well, brat, welcome to Kenjutsu 101, or as I like to call it, Zabuza training from hell." As Naruto looked up at the blade, "I take back what I said earlier. Now I'm definitely screwed," he thought to himself. Time skip. 2.5 years later. "You know, you were a lot harder to find than I thought you would be. But then again, your men weren't exactly forthcoming with the information," Naruto said as he stepped into the broken and ruined shrine. As the ceiling was broken and the walls had huge cracks in it, allowing the moonlight to light up the room. There was enough light for Naruto to see the man sitting down with a huge beard. He had on armor as well. He was on some kind of makeshift throne. He had this crazy look in his eye. One of his hands contained a jug of sake. The other one had a sheet that was well polished. "What the hell?" he said. "I told that village to gather their valuable offerings for me, and they sent a little runt." I don't know whether to laugh or feel insulted as he threw the jug of sake that was now empty. He got to his feet, his head almost reaching the ceiling, just a few inches away. "I really don't care what you say at this point," said Naruto, as he was now as tall as most 8-year-old kids were. He had grown his hair out, but it was tied up in a ponytail that went down. His wardrobe had changed dramatically, as he was now wearing a black shirt and pants that was tucked into a black snowy sandals with fingerless gloves that ran up his elbows. His kunai holster tied to his leg. A white cloak was covering his body, but there was a katana resting on his waist. He also had a white shinobi mask over his face, the lower half that is. His hair and eyes seemed to glow with the moonlight. As he stepped forward, not that it mattered much anyway, because I have to fulfill my contract with the village that you've been terrorizing for the last month, and make sure you don't ever come back. Whatever feeling a 2-bit boss wannabe like yourself has about this, I don't really give a damn." As Naruto gripped the hilt of the blade and slid it out, the moonlight dancing across it as it sparkled slightly. "Normally, I don't like to kill. If I feel like it, I give my target a chance to walk away. However, I think the world would be a lot better place without someone like you. Don't you agree, mass murderer Gokai Karu?" The large man grinned. "So the little child know who I am?" And yet you willingly sought me out. I don't know if you're trying to be brave, or you're just very stupid. I'm interested though to know how you found out who I was. Seeing that I haven't even told my own man my actual name. Well, I found out a lot about you from my sensei contacts. Seems like you made your first appearance in the grass country, where you slaughtered a whole farming community in one night. You killed a lot of innocent people there, mostly women and children if his sources are right. Then your trail led you to a port city, where you killed a boat owner so that you could get to Wave. Eventually you form your gang from local small-time criminals. I just can't figure out why you would go from murder to thievery. Would you care to tell me why before I send you to hell? The man started to snicker insanely as he drew his blade. It barely even resembled an actual blade. The top was shaped like a cleaver, and it looked like several teeth were running down the side. However, there was so much dried up blood on it. It was disturbing. The blade looked like it had never been cleaned in the entire time he's had it. This guy is a lot more dangerous than the average bounties that Sensei has me tracked down. I can't take him lightly, Naruto thought to himself. I gotta say, kid, whoever your Sensei is, he has some rather good sources, because I did kill those people, and I enjoyed every single second of it. But that doesn't help pay the bills, you know. So I thought of this idea while carving up my first victim in the hidden mist. Why don't I just gather some low-life scum like me that I can reign my dominance over, and then we can clean up and raid some villages. I get to have some fun and some cash on the side as well, Gokai said in a smug, arrogant voice. I wish you could have seen the face of those weaklings when I first got to the village. It was rather fun showing them who's in charge. And now that they've sent you for me, I'm gonna speed up their delivery so they can give me all that they have earned. And after that, I'm gonna burn it to the ground. Well, after I slaughter every single one of them, of course, Gokai said with a huge grin on his face. And I think the term mass murder is a bit demeaning. I think of myself as a artist. As Naruto raised the eyebrow. An artist, huh? Yeah, an artist. Every cut, every piece of flesh that is broken is a work of art on my canvas that are my victim's body. Outside they're so hideous, so I show the world their inner beauty. And that is what is known as true art. And now, he said, as he rushed towards Naruto, I'm gonna turn you into my latest art. Naruto swung his blade up as Gokai blade slammed down on it, as he tried to crush Naruto under his might. This guy is fast for someone who's so big, Naruto thought. As the 8-year-old boy slipped to the side dragging his blade, sparks clashed between the weapons as Naruto rolled to the side. With Naruto out of the way, Gokai's weapon came down. A hole was left in the ground, showing the amount of force that he had brought down on Naruto. Huh, so the little cockroach can fight back, huh? He said with a smirk. I can tell you're going to be especially beautiful when I carve you up, Gokai said. He ripped his blade out of the earth as he turned to face Naruto. Come on, you cockroach, fight me, and let's see who has the better blade. As Naruto's eyes started to twitch. Is he trying to say I'm short like a cockroach? He thought to himself. Naruto got fully up to his feet. His blade was pointed downwards. As Naruto started to walk, it turned into a jog before he sprinted forward, tearing out the floor as he moved. Gokai might have brute strength, however, Naruto was zipping around as they clashed violently. Despite only being 8 years old, his speed was immense. And his strength was not too far behind. Because Gokai was extremely large, it would probably take at least 10 of Naruto to make him up. And yet, Naruto was dancing around him with strength, precision, and speed to show that despite him being older, that doesn't mean shit in this world. Gokai was pushed back on the defense, as he was shocked as he was actually being knocked back, rather roughly. What's wrong, Gokai? You wanted me to fight back? Or was that all talk? This won't take longer, said Naruto, because I'm ending this now. Tuh, as if you could, brat, Gokai said. You're nothing, you're pathetic. You're just a pathetic brat, with a toothpick for a weapon, and if you think that can... Gokai was cut off, as the both of them had been locking blades, and to his shock Naruto was cutting into his blade. What the hell? He's breaking my sword. How is he doing this, Gokai thought. Then Gokai saw something under the corner of his eye. The next thing he knew, something slammed into his ribs. The sudden unexpected hit pushed him down to the side as he fell, as Naruto brought his blade up, tearing right through Gokai's sword, the other piece flying and stabbing into the wall, while he held on to the broken piece. As Naruto stood there, he was back to the position where he was, his blade and sheath in his hand. Every part of a blade is a weapon, said Naruto as he flipped the sheath, even the sheath. Kinjutsu, the art of the sword and swordsmanship. That is what I use. You're no swordsman, you're just someone swinging a metal, trying to hit something. And that is what is pathetic, said Naruto. As Naruto walked up to the injured man who was holding his stomach in pain. You have no purpose, while I do. You became obsessed with blood and death, and you let it become your character. You let it consume you. I have had to kill as well, but I always had a reason for it. I do it to help those that hire me to do so, if I see fit for it, or to help my sensei and friends reach your goals. And I do it so I can protect my precious people. As Naruto stood in front of Gokai, weapon in hand, because of your bloodlust, you have become weak, pathetic. You don't even deserve the right to wield a blade. I would kill you right now, but I think the people of the village will like to do that themselves, said Naruto. As Gokai turned his gaze, you were right. I shouldn't have challenged you. I was wrong. I don't want to die. He stabbed Naruto in the stomach a moment later with a half blade that he was still holding. As Naruto started to cry, I can't believe it. You dumb stupid brat. You thought it was a good idea getting so close. Well, now you're dead, and I'm going to see your insides, he said. Wait, what the hell, Gokai thought. As he realized that it was not tears, Naruto was melting. What? As Naruto bursts into water. What the hell? Gokai thought, confused. Yeah, hell, said Naruto. Gokai looked up as Naruto was falling from the heavens. Forget what I said. I'm sending you there myself. Scum like you don't deserve another single breath, said Naruto. No, Gokai screamed. I won't die by some weakling like you. He tried to dodge as Naruto landed. Gokai then spun around as Naruto sheathed his blade. The moment it was closed, Gokai's head was severed from his body as it collapsed. His body then collapsed in a heap. Weakling, said Naruto with a scoff. I'm not weak. Far from it, he said, talking to the corpse. It's just, if I had used force on you, there would have been nothing remaining of your corpse to prove that I had killed you, said Naruto. As he walked over towards the head, he then walked and kicked the head as it slammed into the wall. He then reached out as it ricocheted back towards him as he caught it. He pulled it back up to eye view. Pathetic, just like I said. He then pulled out 3 pieces of paper as he lit them all before tossing them all behind him, one on each wall. He then stepped out, head in hand. Boom! The entire place went up in a cataclysmic blast as Naruto walked, head in hand, sword on hip, as he made his way. But guys, be in subscribe right here. For the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platform, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other series. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.